All right, gonna get started here in 1 second. All right, go ahead and get started here. So this is Lost in Space. Came out about a month ago now. I think a month ago this Friday. It was a collaboration with Alex Popov over in Russia. Came out on his label, Interplay. So this project file, it's not actually exactly the final version. We exchanged stuff back and forth, and he has the final version, and then he did the final mix and master. So, for example, this is the final version. Is this love? My master chain might be on twice. Oh no. Is this love? This is my version. Oh, CPU's getting destroyed. And this is also the instrumental because I did the vocal mix down in a separate project. So there'll be some variations between this project and what you hear in the final, but all the elements are still the same. Let's see if there's anyone else viewing it. Drop a comment if you got any questions about anything or any comments. If you think it's a shitty song, let me know. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start with the drop because I mean that's the part people care about the most. So this is what the drop in the in the song sounds like. Technical difficulties there is making sure that the stream is working. All right, so the elements here, the big first one is this main pluck sound, and there's all these automations on it. I think it was like 3 different layers. Let's see. Go ahead and mute this. Go ahead and look at this thing. So it consisted of 3 different layers: a silent 1 layer, a nexus layer, and then I think this is just a white noise layer. And for processing for this, so just Camel Crusher, fatten it up, some EQ, some sound godizer, cutting out the low end again, some delay, some more EQ, and then that's routed to a bus where it's just more EQ, and then this is probably actually automations, and then that is routed to a reverb, and this is basically acting as a send instead of an insert. If you don't know the difference between a reverb, send, and an insert, definitely look it up. And then just sidechain. Sidechain really light. So that's the main element of the whole track right there. Other element here is this atmosphere. No processing on it. It's just pitched down one octave. One key, one semitone. And then for the bass, there's a lot of bass going on in this song. And I'm not sure, I don't think Alex used all the bass layers in the final version. Let's see. He used that one. I don't think he used this layer, but the other ones he did. So let's dive into each different layer. See if there's anyone else watching right now in chat. First layer is this, what I call stabby long bass. This is just a silent one with sound godizer, some EQ, cutting out the low end, and then some stereo shapes, which I usually wouldn't do to a mid bass, but because there were so many different bass layers on this, I had to make room for every single layer, so I made this one a little bit more wide. This layer was never used in the final song. This is just a sub, nothing special. I use this same preset a lot, honestly. Same chain as well. A bass stab, kind of like a brass stab. I think this is from a different song that I did, and I just exported it, and it worked in this song. Definitely reuse stuff from old projects. It's a good tip. Then here's that classic melodic house rolling bass. Which I think is just one layer. Yeah. Next is trance bass. And I just EQ'd it, cut out the low end, and kickstarted it. That's literally it. So with this melodic house style, the bass, you definitely want to sidechain super heavy to get that pumping feeling. And then some like white noise, crowd noise, some atmosphere, more atmosphere, an impact, and then a bunch of sweeps and stuff. I always have tons of this kind of stuff in my drops, no matter what the genre is. And that's the sweep up into the break. And then there's some more drop white noise there. So that's really it. The second bass line comes in the second half of the drop. I don't know if this made it in the final version either, actually. I don't think it did. And if it did, it's very light. Basically what I did with this is it's one layer, and I automated some, I think the macros on it probably. Let's see. Yeah, I automated the higher knob, and then also this wide knob. So if you ever have a preset that you start with in Serum and it has these macro knobs, definitely play around with automating them. It adds a lot of flavor to your song. I mean, I just automate everything in general, like this main pluck. I mean, I can explain what every single one of these automations are. This is just a cut, the release on one of the layers. This is the cutoff going into the break. This is Endless Smile in the build-up to add more like a washout effect, and then kickstart kicks on right here to sidechain it. A cutoff automation along with this Endless Smile in the build-up. filter automation, and then just EQ automation. So it's just most of these automations are for the build-up. I think that's it for this first drop. This one didn't make. This didn't make it in the final version. And then the drums. There's the kick. These different drum layers. The Producer School Astral drum samples are really, really good. I love them, especially this one. It's so good. And for this one, I never really do anything like this. I tried to experiment with different stuff. I automated the volume of it so I could feel like that drum coming in and out, and I added Endless Smile automation. So this is really just me experimenting, trying different things. If there's anyone in the chat here. No one. All right. So that's the drop. Let's go ahead and look at the beginning of the track. This is probably my favorite part of this track, is this chord progression that I wrote for these strings. This is how the track actually started, was this chord progression. And it adds a few notes. It's funny how this stuff works. Like, usually I struggle with making a really, really good chord progression, but this one I just smashed out real fast. I have no idea. Sometimes it just clicks. Also in this break here, these trance pads that come in. Nexus has some really good pads. Processing on that. I'm sure Alex did some stuff on the final mix and master. I don't know if this made it in the final version either. These Medusa style plucks. Oh yeah, they did. Okay, they're just toned down a lot. This is the classic Medusa pluck they used to use in all of their songs. They still use it sometimes. Yeah, you can find it on the internet. I mean, it's not hard to find. And then in the background of the beginning are all these different ambience layers. With these melodic house, progressive trance songs, it's very important to make sure you have lots of different textures and ambiences going on. Build up. What do we got? A couple different layers. 2 from the Producer School. I love their stuff. 1 from Styx. That one I didn't use. That's probably from Splice. That's it. Those layers right there make up the build-up. I don't think I have Endless Smile in the master. No, I don't. I didn't use Endless Smile in the master. And then a couple impacts and stuff in the beginning, and that's really it as far as the break at the beginning goes. The second break, I'll play it in the original. Is this love worth trying for? So the main pluck's still going on. It's just kind of filtered out. Just kidding. Maybe it's not even playing. No, never mind. Main pluck's not playing. This pluck that is playing, though, is literally just, it's a loop that I found. I know, God forbid, some people are gonna rage that I used a synth loop in a track, but I mean, I don't know. I found it, dropped it in the break, and it sounds good. Typically, would not use a loop like this for the drop layer, like the drop leads or, the main elements, but it works right here in this break. Kick's still going on, but I EQ'd it so it's not hitting quite as hard in the break. Same drum loop. Some fills right before the second break comes in. Some claps that come in. And then some more producer school hats. This is the same bass as the drop, but it's just the volume's lowered and then it's just consistent. But then it goes back into the bass progression after 8 bars. And then a respace, which I use in a lot of songs, no matter what the genre, honestly. And then the cutoff kind of opens up there before this breakdown with the strings. More ambience. That one's pretty sick. I love playing around with like layering up tons of different ambience and atmospheres and Foleys and stuff. Some rain. Another ambience layer. Some vocal that I chopped up. Added some little altar boy to it. Makes it just a little bit more driven. Yeah, the hard tune drive effect. And then just some impacts and stuff. And then that's really it. There's some risers that go into this string breakdown. That's what this sounds like. So the only things that are really added here is these strings come back in before the second drop. And then I also added these. Oh, maybe not. Actually, I think this plugin is not working for me right now. Yeah, these violas come in as well. The main pluck comes back in. And then it's filtered out before the drop comes in. The only difference here is I change up the melody a little bit before this second drop. So this is what the main melody sounds like in the beginning. And then the second drop, well, I actually have it right there. It changes up a little bit. I worked for a long time to try to figure out some way to add some type of variation here, second drop, because that's what really brings songs from really good to really, really good is, instead of just playing this same melody over again in the second drop, change it up. Find some way to keep that listener interested. That's what I did here, the second drop. Same automations as the first drop. And then the other thing I did here is I added a second layer that comes in the second drop. And that's not working. Let's have to do these automations. There we go. All right, so that sounds like this. That's just a Nexus layer. Nice bright pluck layer. I routed that to the same bus as all these other plucks. It's good a lot of times, like for all of your different lead pluck layers, to have the same reverb and sidechain on them, just so it sounds more cohesive. There's a little support melody that comes in right there. Did that make it in the final version? Yeah, it did. All right, I wasn't sure. What's going on with that one? That is a future rave pluck. I mean, it doesn't matter what genre some of these presets and stuff are from. If it sounds good, then it sounds good. No sidechain on it. No processing on it, really. And then this little support melody that comes in. Again, something different from the first drop. This first drop doesn't have this. It's just something I added in the second drop. Same kick drum. All the same drums as the first drop, I think. I don't think anything's different here with the drums. Yeah, it's all the same drums. Same bass lines. And same down filters. It's really all... The only difference with this second drop is... I think this didn't make it in the final version either. It's funny, all these things that didn't make it in the final version as I look back at the old project. Nope, that didn't make it in. That's all good. I like it better without it. So the only difference here with this second drop and the first drop is that I added a little bit of a different melody, a second layer, and then these support melodies. And then for the second build-up, I think I used some different build-up layers in this one. I added this one in instead. And then this one as well. Oh, that's filthy. So again, just trying to switch things up. It's good to sometimes have your second build-up be different than your first one. That's what I did there. And then this loop, I increased the cutoff on it and the endless smile intensity, and then I just looped it. And then just filtered it out before the drop comes in. That's really it. This sound comes in. Other than that, I mean, it's a pretty simple project. There really isn't a lot of things going on. And then I sent this to Lauren. She recorded the vocals, Lauren Lamont, and just the first idea she sent, I knew right away that it was gonna be perfect. So. Sent it over to Alex Popov. He liked it. He worked on it, and final version came out like this. So if you're watching this after I stream, definitely drop a comment below and any questions you have about it. I'll go back and I'll answer it. So I hope this was helpful to everyone, and see you next time I have a song where I can walk through the whole process of how I made it.